Here they are, yeah.
It is game one, round one of the European Championship. This is the start of a long marathon. Our players have a huge weekend ahead of themselves, so we'll see how the fatigue, the mental game comes into play over the course of this entire event. But fresh start, bright and early for these players here. Benoit versus Lav, Blackwing versus Rika. All right, so I think it was Lav who won the dice roll, I believe. No, it's actually Benoit.
Actually Benoit.
Okay.
Yep.
Start off with a Pot of Prosperity. That's a good card you want to see turn one.
Absolutely.
And Lav is not expecting to play against Blackwing at all. We have to assume.
Yeah, I'd assume that's definitely not a matchup you'd be regularly testing at all. But regardless, that is usually sometimes a bit of a strong strategy. You know, show up to an event with a sort of underrepresented archetype to.
And I'm expecting some reading here, but only 3 cards off the top, and it's not gonna be Lav. It doesn't look that surprised. Interestingly enough, I would expect him to read the card right away, but instead.
Right, so we do have a Sutri here. Oh, we've also opened the Simoon.
Yeah, wow.
That's huge.
Yeah.
All right, so this should be the full combo here. Let's see how exactly Benoit has adapted this. There's a couple of ways to play the Blackwing strategy. You can play it as a pure deck, which establishes, I think, generally you want to go for the triple Assault Wing, maybe the level 10 as well with the new Trap card, but you also have the ability to incorporate some Raid Raptor cards, so we'll see if he's doing any of that. Simoon is the Searcher of the Black Whirlwind, a card which is...
OG, yeah.
Yeah, it's an old school card here, getting you the search of any Blackwing monster from your deck with an attack less than the monster that you just normal summoned. We're going to see a lot of normal summoning in this Blackwing deck, as it's able to perform multiples with the effect of the Simoon and the No Thung. The level 6 Synchro is going to be able to help with that as well. And there is the Sutri. So Sutri basically just searches any Blackwing card. Typically you want to go Chainlink 1 Sutri, Chainlink 2 Whirlwind, and that gets you another combo piece. We've already searched the Vata from the Simoon search. So this is going to be full combo. I'm just curious to see exactly how he ends.
What field he's able to set up, yeah.
Okay, so he's playing the Shanga as well, which is a really good form of disruption here. You can actually just special it like any other Blackwing, and then when it's in the graveyard, I believe it banishes or activates to destroy a card your opponent controls.
Yeah, exactly. You can banish it to just target a face-up card and destroy it. So, pretty useful one, and obviously a tuner as well, which is nice.
Shamal gets the sort of upgraded version of Whirlwind from the deck here, the Black Feather Wind, which allows you to special summon back a Blackwing from the graveyard when you get the Black Winged Dragon onto the field. Typically, Black Winged Dragon is not actually the one that has been historically popular, but the strategy has been incorporated with the new Darkwing Blast support. All right, so the way Vata works, it's sort of this, you know, kind of Vayu-style card that allows you to kind of, you know, Vayu lets you synchro from the grave. Well, how about synchroing from the deck, actually? That's what we're going to do here. We're going to send the Chinook and I think that probably should have been a Zephyros, I think we sent there.
Yeah, we sent the Zephyros, and now, as you mentioned, we are going for even a Starlight Rare.
Yeah, beautiful. So triggering the Black Featherwind to bring back a Blackwing, and that brings back Vata, and Black Featherwind is then bounced to the hand here from the Zephyros effect, and that means you can reactivate the Featherwind, and that actually allows you to use it again. It's actually not a once per turn card, following the tradition of the old school Blackwing cards, not all once per turn, so... And tributing off of the effect of Sutri to establish a level 2 token, and that's going to set you up nicely for No Thung for a 3rd normal summon this turn, if we want to go for that.
Very good stuff here from Benoit, honestly, especially because, like, Lav is not into many hand traps. It's just playing some, you know, polycyclone cards.
You wouldn't expect it from the Rika deck, usually.
Yeah, we'll see how we can break this field apart on the clap back here, but we're going to go into the No Thung. Allows you to activate the effect to get an extra normal summon, burning for 800 in the process as well, so a nice little tool in time, should that ever arise. And again, as mentioned, the Featherwind, not once per turn, allows you to bring back here, and also using the Shamal in the graveyard to recycle the Sutri back into the hand. And just establishing these tokens as a form of counters on the Black Featherwind, the Black Wing Dragon, sorry. All right. And I think here there could be the new card being made here. It is the Baraya Storm, which is a level 6 tuner, Synchro monster. And it actually has an incredible effect to dump from the graveyard, from the deck, sorry. And it actually manipulates the level. And that way you're able to go up further into more synchro plays. And it also allows you to synchro from the graveyard. It's like a mishmash of value as well.
Yeah, it's an amazing tool. It's also a tuner, so that makes it even better to just keep pushing. And yeah, this is really great stuff from Benoit.
So the Whirlwind searches the Orochi, which is just a level 1 tuner that allows you to synchro summon just by special summoning it for free, like most Black Wings. It's a level 1, which works really nicely with the Black Wing Dragon. It actually helps you go into Hot Red Dragon Abyss. So you're going to end on a negate as well here. And it looks like that's what we're doing with this Orochi. So yeah, historically we've seen the Hot Red Dragon Abyss played in numerous forms of decks. It's been particularly popular in the Dragon Link strategy, usually with a Rocket Synchron and a Chaos Magic Dragon, although unfortunately, very sadly, we won't be seeing him this weekend.
This makes it much tougher because Love, one of the few ways he had was like an evenly matched, and now that's not even going to be enough here.
Goes for the second Black Wing Dragon here, and then gets to sync that off with the manipulated level of the Baraya Storm to go into the first copy of Assault Wing Dragon. Oh no, is that a Despater?
Yeah, it's a Despater.
Okay, right, interesting line here. So we're going to make the Assault Wing with the Graveyard effect of the Baraya Storm while also maintaining the Despater. There we go.
Yeah, this is amazing stuff again from the Benoit.
So the Despater is not something I've actually seen typically played in this variant of Blackwing, but the multiple copies of the Assault Dragon here, I think this is going for the 3rd now.
Look at that.
Yeah, so just to inform you as to what the effect is of Assault Wing Dragon, when your opponent activates a monster effect, they take 700 damage. Which is kind of similar to Masquerade, except it's a little bit crazier when you have 3 of them on the field. So 2,100 life points per monster effect. That's that's a heavy tax to pay there.
And with Rika, you really need to activate your monsters.
A lot of monster effects, yeah. Perhaps something like a Con might be able to get rid of them. We'll see how he plays this one out here. That's an interesting. What is that card? He's searching off a Small World.
Yeah, he's going for a Small World. Let's see what he actually picks up.
Is that a Blackwing card? I have no idea what that is. Interesting. Okay, all right, we'll see how that plays out here. Yeah, just clarifying the levels and stuff of the synchros and tuners that we've established here. And yeah, this is looking pretty strong. Don't forget as well, we've also got the Trap card in the hand, which lets you basically synchro as, yeah, like a quick play kind of synchro. That can help you go into the level 10. Recently released as a Royal Rare for the Macedos Celebration event. If you logged into that, you would have got yourself your hands on him.
Well, yeah, that's it. I think it's a decent opening.
Pretty strong,
yeah. That's... Wow. And now the question is, does Love even want to reveal what he's playing if he's not able to fight back?
Couple of tools in the main deck here to potentially deal with these Assault Wings and Hot Reds. We've got the Dark Ruler no more.
Yeah, that would be really good.
Now, an interesting sort of way to play around Dark Ruler you can go with using the Hot Red Abyss. So Dark Ruler no more says you cannot respond with monster effects. So what you could do hypothetically is activate Dark Ruler, and then because you're not responding with a monster, you can chain the Trap card and then chain the Hot Red to negate the Dark Ruler. Has been a very cool little trick we've seen that people can utilize to bypass the non-response nature. There's an evenly matched here, straight to the battle phase.
Could there be a second copy, maybe?
Yeah, I found out the hard way recently that card is not once per turn.
Let's see if there is a second copy from Love. There is not. He just picks up his cards, and game 1 goes to Benoit with a very intimidating turn 1 field. Wow.
Sometimes you establish a big field like that, there is not really any options for you other than to say, all right, let's head on over to game 2.
Yeah. And at the same time, I kind of like it that he preserved as much information as possible. Evenly, it's just played by so many decks. And actually, arguably maybe you wouldn't even expect it in the main deck from Rika, so maybe he's gonna throw his opponent off guard there.
You could make the assumption potentially that it's Runic, I think generally is something that runs evenly in the main.
I agree. And that could lead to some, wrong side deck decisions. On the other hand, Olav will be comfortable going first, setting up his own field of plant monsters. Do you think he knows what to bring in this matchup?
I think with plants, honestly, you don't really care too much, right? You could do the same thing. You just establish a big combo.
No, exactly. But I think what Love might be doing here, by going first, you really want to set up your combo. And I think he's going to side out Evilly Match and the Dark Lure going first. I think it doesn't make sense to have them in. He's playing an interesting card which we haven't seen in a while, which is Spiritual Water Art Aoi. So
yes,
maybe we will see that coming in, because I can only see that going first, and then also there's the Cold by the Grave, which in general going first, I think.
Very good,
but
hand
good to see that there's the Aoi here. I think it's been maybe with Monarch.
Absolutely, Spiritual Water Art Aoi is a card. To look at your opponent and just discard a card. I guess it's potentially really good. We could say it's the replacement from the Red Lotus, which we don't have access to anymore, but. I mean, obviously requires a different setup. On the other hand, though, his opponent is going second, so maybe he's going to cut some of his cards and try to focus on generic going second cards. As you mentioned, maybe he thinks he's up against a Runic. We could see some Cosmics, which, to be fair, are pretty good against Rika as well. So that wouldn't be the end of the world, but regardless, our duelists are pretty much done with their side decks, so we can jump right back into game 2.
You guys have seen Rika quite a number of times over the course of multiple YCSs in Europe here, and you probably will be somewhat familiar with how this deck works. It is a all-in glass cannon style combo deck, and it's exactly what Lav is going to try and do here and establish a big field. We talked a little bit at the start about the Rose Whip strategy, being able to search that with any with your Arrow Mage, your Aroma Seraphy.
And this is a great start, obviously. Unexpected die, all you need.
One card combo, a normal monster. I mean, hey, if you told me a normal monster can do all of this 10 years ago, I would have called you crazy. But here we are, the Sunside Genius Loci. Plenty of ways to access this in the deck. We've seen, Unexpected Die. There's the Painful Decision. There's 1-for-1, Small World. Lots of consistent ways to get into this.
Yeah. And this is the card that enables it all, searching for the Signvine spell. As you can see here, this is usually where some of the players use the Ash Blossom in this matchup, but obviously when you start with,
Yeah, so the pure plant deck, sort of the Sun Avalon, has a couple of clutch points here that you really want to try and stop your opponent on. Sometimes hitting the Dryas with an effect negate is okay, but usually, as you mentioned, shaving Ash Blossom for the sowing is quite strong. But even then, because of the fact that we're now incorporating Rika cards, you can actually continue on after a sowing has been negated.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the same time, when they start things off with the Unexpected Die, you might just Ash there, honestly, and take
sometimes you just put them on Better or Have It, right?
Yeah. And this is what we have seen pretty much last year from Marcus as well. From this setup, you can just do a lot of different things, going for the Jasmine and going and accessing your other engines. Is also playing the one copy of Longfire Blossom, obviously, to access any of the other's engines, alongside that Naturia Rose Whip, which we mentioned. So let's see what he just wants to open up with.
Mentioned a little bit earlier about the time sort of tools that's available to the Blackwing deck with a lot of burn strategies and stuff, but the plant deck actually goes in the opposite direction and heals yourself for a couple of life points here. So should that ever be a strategy required throughout the tournament, you do have the option of using Sunvine Healer to gain a couple of life points and put yourself ahead in time. Although I think in this matchup it's not really going to be a bit of a time grind, I would assume.
Especially because I think this is going to be a very interesting situation in which both of our players had the chance, to basically showcase their combo. So it's looks like there's no interruption from Benoit. So maybe we will see the Rika deck at full power, as we saw last year as well.
Therion edition of Lily
Nice.
Borea is a great way to sort of insulate yourself from any sort of disruption from the hand partway through the combo here, as it does allow you to get the Regulus from the deck. So we send here for the Disc Coliseum gets Regulus, and then when we send off the Lily Borea, we can re-equip and establish our Omni Negate before we continue for the rest and the final portion of the combos, usually to try access those Rika cards.
Yeah, the Tyrion package was not played by Marcus last year, but has been recently added to the deck, to the most successful Rika players out there, and I think it does give you this addition, and especially going first after siding, it's really good.
I'm just wondering if Benoit actually has some form of disruption here, because he's been thinking a little bit on a couple of these effects here, so I'm curious if that'll come up.
And here we see Lonefire tributing the Lily so that the Regulus in hand can be activated later on.
So Lonefire Blossom tributes for cost here, and I think this is basically going to be your real sort of last opportunity to get some disruption here. Otherwise, that Regulus, as we mentioned, is going to be able to protect from further plays here. And I think he's fanning out his hand here. You can kind of see that Rose Whip at the front, considering and weighing up the options if we go for Rose Whip, or do we want to go deeper into the Rika combos?
Yeah, I think Rika makes sense here. You really want to access the Con-Con, and this is where Benoit will start reading these cards.
And I think one of the key factors that has brought this deck also 1 year after winning last year is that players don't really know where to activate their disruptions. That's the main thing. So it's not easy basically to activate, you know, the Ash Blossom, the Impermanence. You don't really know where. If you don't really know where to activate it, then you are in trouble basically.
And here we set up either another forward interruption with the Princess getting added to the end, which is the sneaky interruption, I want to say, because a lot of times it will just sit at the bottom of your graveyard, and it actually is able to shuffle back from the graveyard as well to just negate one more effect from your opponent. So really gotta keep those in mind.
I think one of the sort of unfortunate situations you can find yourself in is your opponent ends on a big field and you read all the cards and you're like, okay, I gotta play through this, and then suddenly something activates in the grave and you're like, whoa, where did this come from? But yeah, the Princess, absolutely a great form of disruption for the Rika strategy, and it looks like we're going for the Sunseed Twin effect from the graveyard, allowing you to bring back the healer, banishing a monster that you control with the same name, as we have established 2 Jasmines, and the healer is going to activate the effect to heal again, and this triggers the non-once per turn search of the Jasmine to access potentially Madan or Snowdrop. So yeah, so much synergy across multiple different plant decks. I mean, it's technically an Arrow Mage card. We've got the Sun Avalon strategy. We've got some Therions, and we've got Rikas. Sort of plants just kind of establishing themselves as like a plant deck rather than like this exact strategy. It's similar maybe to Pendulum, you know? It's like Pendulum is a Pendulum deck, not really a, you know, Magician or X or something.
Or even the Dragon Link, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Just dragons. That's my deck. All right, here's Malayas, the Link Climb. Gets the Lokai back from the graveyard, and that's going to be able to give you a Link 4. And the Bengal Lancer, one of the great forms of disruption this deck offers by allowing you to compulsory evacuation device your opponent's monsters. All right, looks like we had Madan in the hand the whole time, or did we search that? Regardless,
yeah,
it is. Yep, that's the. This is the most important one. Whenever you ask a plant player the best place to stop them, it's always Madan. Because you actually don't have too much here, really, if you think about it. You would probably end on maybe like a Bengal Lancer and a Regulus. Yeah. But now, with the Madan, okay, it doesn't get Con-Con.
No, I think he added the Con-Con. He had the Glamour.
Okay, so the Con-Con's going to get the sheet, and we're just using the Glamour. Okay,
exactly.
Incredible hand here. Really just has everything you need.
This was crazy setup.
So on the new chain here, because you tribute a plant monster, you can get the Primula. And then you can also just use the just basic special summon if you control a Rika monster effect of the Petal, sorry, the Princess. And this goes our rank 4 Strenna.
Yep. Rika Queen Strenna, which will be able to upgrade later on. But for now, this is really threatening and pretty much...
Did we normal summon? We started with Die, right? Have we not used our normal summon?
No, I think he didn't. Yeah.
Okay, so we can still potentially access Rose Whip, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, fantastic.
Yeah, this is Really, really well played by Love. Basically, returning the favor of game 1 to his opponent with an even more threatening board.
Yeah, I sat through your combo, you're going to sit through mine.
Exactly.
Strenna has been tributed, which has the graveyard effect when it's tributed off, allows you to special summon from the deck a Plant Xyz into the Hypertrion, and it is a negate equal to the card type of the material.
Here we can see the Rose Whip. Yep.
Yeah.
Incredible. Yeah.
Wow. What a start, honestly, from Love here once again, returning the favor to Benoit.
Sometimes plants can, occasionally struggle with disruption of spells and traps, although obviously not really in this matchup. But if you get paired up against something like a Labyrinth deck, it can be quite hard because a lot of your disruption are based on monsters. You know, you get the Sheet Steel, you got the Pet Princess in the graveyard. So it's kind of one of the weaknesses of this deck, and that's why the Rose Whip here is to try and aid with that, with the spell and trap protection.
And as mentioned, he didn't normal summon, so he can normal the Princess and finally upgrade into Link 4. Use the Concon, get the sheet, and yeah, this is wow. Incredible.
I'm just wondering, the Hypertron should be able to get a spell material here as well, I think, when you activate Concon. So that's usually one of the ways that you get an extra monster type, card type. I'm not sure if he's missed out on that, but regardless, we do have a monster negate, we have a bounce, we have a tribute, we have one spell and trap, we have a steal, we have a tribute for cost, we have a negate, and we have one spell and trap usage per turn. That's a lot of disruptions.
Yeah. It's really, really impressive stuff. And now, I guess the best way to start things off here would be, again, a Dark Ruler maybe, but it's definitely tough.
So I think one of the sort of cool interactions you can do here with the Regulus, notice that Regulus doesn't negate activations, it negates effects. So if your opponent activates a spell and trap card and you negate it with the Regulus, the Rose Whip is actually in effect because Rose Whip says you can only activate a spell and trap. So if you negate the activation of a spell and trap, they can use another spell and trap.
But unfortunately, he has seen enough. He picks up his cards and we are heading into game 3. Similar start to this game 2 as in game 1. These guys are just showing off at this point their own combos, and it will be down to game 3. Can Love stop his opponent, or is Benoit just gonna assemble the same Blackwing field as in game 1? We'll see, but I do see some tools in the side decks from Love at least. First and most importantly, 3 copies of Nibiru. I would say that's... do you even have any way to play around that with the Blackwing deck?
Well, I suppose you don't really want to just drop Nibiru immediately on 5. You can sort of wait a little while, but, you know, because there's just so many normal summons in the deck and special summons from hand, sometimes you can play through Nibiru. And one thing as well, specifically, is there isn't really ways to set up an Omni protection with Blackwing before Nibiru. So in the same way that Rika can establish Regulus at, you know, fairly early in the combo to insulate itself against hand traps, I don't think Blackwing can particularly do that. I know Chinook negates monster effects, but I think Chinook only negates monsters that your opponent controls.
Yeah, on the other hand, other options include some copies of some one-offs related to Trust, we could say. So he is playing a Lightning Stormer, Dark Rulers as one-offs, which you can search with the Trust. Yeah, it's still gonna be a similar one where he tries and he needs to pick up, but he has more chances. I think, was he maining Impermanence at least? Yeah, so now he's gonna have Impermanence, Ash and Nibiru to just possibly draw into them, and if not, he has, you know, Dark Ruler, Evenly, Lightning Storm to just try and fight back. So I think he is definitely in a better chance than game 1. But still, Benoit will be pretty happy to start things off here and try to repeat what he did in game 1. Without further ado, though, this will be the last game for round 1. One of these duelists will probably advance with a 1-0 record. The other one will need to fall back to a 0-1 start, but still plenty of time for what is the day 1 that will see 9 rounds of Swiss today, followed by 2 more tomorrow for a total of 11 before a top 64 cut. So impressive stuff, but our duelists are ready. Let's jump into game 3.
I think if anyone was to lose the dice roll in this matchup, it's probably better for Lav to be in that situation because of just how many disruptions. You mentioned that he is already main decking, but then able to fall back on into the side.
Totally agreed, yeah. Let's see. Again, you really want to start things off similarly as in game 1, I would say, with some of these Blackwing cards. Arguably the best. Could be the one that he started things off last round. Let's take a look at this, and it's Moldward instead.
Okay.
No Ash. So
ooh, that's rough that we hard drew the Zephyros. It's actually a super important combo piece in the deck because of the Featherwind and Vata interactions. So not ideal, but regardless, it does get you into your combo. That's
we
the most
search the
important thing.
Simon?
Yeah, this should bridge into Simun. I still don't know what his bridge is, to be honest with you.
Actually. Oh, not Simon.
Okay.
Interesting.
So
He goes
that
for
means-
Sudri. Yeah.
So Simun makes it so that you have to banish another Blackwing card from your hand, which indicates maybe the other 2 cards in his hand just aren't Blackwings. So he has to go for the 1 card interaction, which is Just Sutri. And Just Sutri, I don't think ends on too much. Oh, but we've got Whirlwind as well. All right, that works out quite.
Wow! Double Whirlwind. Wow.
Not once per turn, by the way.
Absolutely. We thought the start might have been, you know, a lot weaker than game 1, but the impermanence at least can stop the Sudri from resolving. Still, we get 2 searches from Black Warwin.
I don't think that Love was so convinced about this impermanence because, I mean, now here Benoit gets 2 searches.
Yeah, I don't. So I'm just debating in my head here if that was really the best time to impermanence, because I think if your opponent just normal Sutri, then imperm's good, but with double Whirlwind, I think maybe Vata has a better choke point.
Yeah, but I mean, similarly to how his opponent maybe wasn't the most familiar with the Rika deck, I would say Blackwing is even a more niche strategy, so you can't really blame Love for improvising here, and yeah.
Yeah, it's a reasonable sort of take to have on an event like this when there's such a varied, wide field of decks. If you take something like Blackwing that players are not really established with, that's kind of one of the advantages. While your deck might not be as powerful or as amazing to, you know, combo with, such as something a bit more established like Kashtira or Branded, which everyone knows what they're doing against that deck. Everyone has side decks prepared for it. You know, a deck like this, you're kind of hoping that your opponent's going to make some mistakes.
Yeah, and he just searched for not Orochi, but instead...
yeah, the Vata. And,
yeah, the Vata,
and I think it was a Shamal.
Maybe, yeah. And this is what we're gonna see right here with the Vata.
So I'm really curious what he sends here with the Vata. As mentioned, he began his turn with a small world on Zephyros.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of unfortunate because you don't really want to draw that. And let's see what he goes from here.
Double
okay,
impermanence.
there's why.
Wow.
Oh, wow, okay.
Okay, now I can see why he decided to go for that impermanence before.
Sutri is not a tuner, correct? So I think he should...
No, I don't think so.
So I think he should be able to still go into Baraya Storm or a Nothung. Yeah, double hand trap here is quite rough, especially if you haven't opened specifically Simun. The double Whirlwind should help out a little bit here. We know that he's got the Shanga searched as well, so we can just special summon that, do more synchro plays with that if we need to. Sometimes your deck just has like a linear kind of combo where you know like, okay, Simun plus Blackwing does this, Sutri plus Whirlwind does this.
Yeah.
But you can end up in situations where it's like, okay, well, I can do combo 3, but if my opponent has impermanence, where do we go from here? Sometimes you gotta sort of wing it a little bit.
Yeah, seems like he's gonna go for a level 6 synchro here.
So yeah, I think it's really just debating if we go Nothung or Baraya Storm.
Yeah.
Baraya Storm is going to be a tuner, and if we already have a tuner in the hand, maybe we can't do too much with that. So it could be Nothung plus the Shanga in the hand here.
Yeah, it seems like Nothung should be the one. Yeah. It is the Nothung, so 800 damage to his opponent. 16 minutes remaining, so still far away from the end of the round procedure.
So we're going to normal summon the Shanga off of the effect of Nothung, and this is going to trigger the double Whirlwind again. And the attack points are quite low of Shanga, but it does still allow you to add Chinook. the negate from your hand here. If you control Blackwing, and also might go for Orochi, I suppose, is his final search. Yep.
Yeah.
So, I mean, a couple of options here. We can, like, climb up into a Hot Red Abyss, which is a, you know, 1 negate, but at the same time, you probably also want to try and make sure that Chinook is live. Let's see how he runs this one out. So this is why the negate of Sutri at the start was maybe a little bit rough. It meant that we didn't get to search Shamal, who then gets you the Featherwind, which would then be able to trigger here and bring back a monster, but he's going to have to go with a 9, it looks like. It is indeed going to be the Hot Red.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, he had to fight back against 2 impermanents and ended on what is a not red for now. Which at least can, you know...
Yeah, better than nothing, honestly, after double impermanence. And I think he was on a kind of a slow start as well, so it's...
1 face down,
yeah.
and it's back to Love with top decks Trust, which could be amazing here. If you force out the Hot Red, you can search even the Unexpected Die, for example, as a way to combo off. Yeah, nice one.
Do you think you just have to preemptively Hot Red negate this?
It's definitely a potential risk, but
he
passed.
He passed? Really?
Wow.
Wow.
Really?
Okay, wow, well, I mean, play goes back to Benoit here, and we're starting off with a Allure.
Darkness, yeah.
So it was just hoping that Benoit was activating their Hot Red.
To maybe resolve thrusts.
Yeah.
Yeah, that could be it. That could be it. Kaiju not necessary. Kaiju works as a great form of tributing for cost of your opponent's monsters, but also works quite neatly in this deck as a small world bridge as well.
And here I think if Benoit gets the chance to even consider closing the game, I think he might just go for that.
Yeah, no, for sure. Oh, we're tributing.
Ooh, okay, I can see it. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that's what you're gonna go for, and this allows him to search 2 more cards from his deck with those black Whirlwinds, and yeah, this is scary. Another Vata.
All right, we've lost our negate of Hot Red for the tribute summon, but nothing on the field to really use it against, so it didn't really matter. And now we've got Sutri as well as Vata, and we can kind of just establish the whole thing again. We just need to do 8,000 damage, well, 7,200 because of the no-thung burn, so pretty primed here.
And I think if you can get rid of the Hot Red Dragon, you're pretty sure that you can win this.
Yeah, I think so I think he's definitely trying to close this one out here. Chinook is sent as a level 2 plus the 4, and the Vata. That's going to add up to another Blackwing Dragon.
I think the only thing maybe we might be saying, if there's any chance there will be a Nibiru, but honestly I doubt it.
Yeah, I mean, there's an opportunity, there's a chance that he drew it as his 6th card, which can be really rough with Nibiru, but on the clapback here it might be relevant. Oh, okay.
Ooh, okay.
Actually does not have enough here to close out the game.
Interesting, because then...
begs the question why we sacrificed our Hot Red.
That could be actually a risky line if that's the case.
Well, this face down he has set must be something really important.
Yeah, maybe a little bit of a miscalculation here. Hopefully does not cost him the match. And yeah, play is back to Love. Let's see if he can pick up anything relevant here. Any Rika, any plant monster would be amazing.
I don't think it's too bad of a situation because I think it was actually correct in hindsight, because now your Shanga's live and your Chinook. So you've actually sacrificed your Hot Red for 2 disruptions. Okay, Petal, that's a good start here.
Yeah, at least this is obviously the top deck. This allows to both use the Concon right after.
So as the Chinook we spoke about here allows you to negate a monster effect if you control a Blackwing monster directly from the hand. And it also sends the Baraya Storm as a way to play through. And there's the Thrust.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, Thrust coming from the side deck, really opening up the plays.
That's a... Oh. We control a monster?
Wait.
Yeah, but you can't go for that. Yeah.
Unfortunately, cannot use the unexpected die here.
I think it's still...
Oh.
It should be okay, right? Because I think we can maybe Glamour tribute our own princess, our own petal, right? Clear the field, add a card, and then use a die.
Oh,
can we not do
is
that?
it really
No?
gonna crash?
Okay, looks like we are just crashing.
Oh. Yeah.
Wow, that's rough. That is rough.
Yeah, this is really rough, especially considering how many of the cards from Benoit are able to deal damage to his opponent. Yeah.
All right, 2,800 life points here. No Assault Wing Dragon to burn, so depending on what the rest of the hand here is, we might be able to just combo through.
But he took the damage, so now he's down to 1,200 only. And yeah, let's see if there is anything else from Benoit. Because regardless, we are gonna be in main phase 2, so it's tougher to disrupt this field from the French player.
Couple of ways still to keep going here. We do have full combo per se, and it doesn't look like Benoit has anything else in forms of disruption right now. I think I did see his face down. It was, I think it was like just a dead spell card.
Okay.
So we didn't have the Twin Shadow searched out to try and go for a 10 synchro play. And it looks like we are establishing that sowing down to 200 life points. And then that's going to climb back up with the healer and the healer here. Okay, we can recover a little bit, and time's a ticking. It's we're now down to single digits. 9 minutes remaining. We'll see if that ends up being relevant. Remember, this is main phase 2.
I think this is totally relevant because now you need a lot of time to combo off, and you are in main phase 2. So then you pass back to your opponent, and then you need to go to another battle phase. So this is tough. And honestly, even if you're now back to 1,500, I'm scared if you're a fan of love. Yeah.
I'm just wondering if there was a better thrust search in the deck to be able to start your engine, but it seems that really needed to access some form of way to get to our combo, since his hand didn't look like it really did anything other than disrupt. Started off quite strong with the double impermanence, but no way to capitalize on it.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy task for him, honestly, but on the other side, looks like the Benoit doesn't have any response, and we might be seeing what we witnessed in game 2, but still, with 8 minutes left.
All right, there is the Con effect here, which allows you to tribute your opponent's monsters instead of your own for the Medan special summon. And that gets us further and deeper into our Rika plays here.
Yep, now the Glamour, let's see.
Closing down on that clock here.
It's definitely gonna be a close one. You can now get to both the Petal and the Princess potentially. Let's see what he wants to search. It's gonna be the Primula alongside Princess.
Yeah, we saw this in the last game here. Primula being able to special itself for free when we tribute a plant monster. That's going to give us some rank 4 access, and then we can special the Princess alongside it. Lav does need to speed up a little bit as he does his combo here.
You really don't have the means. And hopefully he remembers that he already used this out battle phase, you know, because maybe that's also an issue where he forgets that he had to crash and he just tries to enter battle phase here, and he's reminded that he cannot, indeed.
If we can get to the end of our combo quick, disrupt our opponent, and get to a battle phase, this deck is very good at establishing a lot of damage with things like the Sunvine Thrasher, but do need to keep going.
Okay, so we are going...
Sylvan Danspion.
Let's see, obviously want to go and look for that Longfire Blossom and any of other plant monsters that you can special summon.
Yeah, this card's incredible. It mills 3. I mean, I can think of a few other cards that mill 3 that are pretty cool. And this one specials directly from the deck if you hit any of your plant monsters. You could just hit like 2 plants here. It's absolutely incredible. Here we go.
Let's see.
All right, one.
And only one. Okay.
All right, good enough, I guess.
Decent. Yeah, the only thing is, as you mentioned, less than 6 minutes remaining
Yeah, it's time is moving surprisingly quick here for Love.
Ooh, but we have
okay.
access to the Therian Lily.
Not bad, not bad.
Really not the time to choose the...
It really doesn't matter what you
left,
equip here.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
All right, Lilyboria equips the special summon sent at this Colosseum. Go for Regulus. That's the name of the game with the Therion plays here.
Actually tributing
I think he's sending itself.
Yeah, I don't know what we are thinking here. We just need to resolve it, get the Regulus from deck or the Colosseum. As mentioned, obviously, Colosseum and then Regulus. Oh, no, we are actually going for a Link summon instead.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, going for the Malayas line here to climb into a Link monster.
Now finally going for the Rika Queen, it seems.
I think it's the Strenna first here who's being made.
Yeah, Rika Queen Strenna.
And yeah, no, this is so stressful to watch here.
What a way to start things off here at the European World Championship qualifier. If this is round one, oh, I don't know if I can live on to get to the end. This is crazy start to this day one.
So a dangerous part of Bengal Lancer is that while it's an extremely good effect to disrupt your opponent, it does cost your life points to use the effect here. All right, as Benoit reads the cards here, Lav should... oh, we're just passing here?
Oh, okay, passed.
Yeah, I mean, he probably thought he didn't have time to just keep comboing off, and he thought, okay, I'm gonna pass. Let's see here, because the Black Wirewind require your monster to stay on field to resolve. So if you were to now disrupt it, they don't add anymore. And this would be really important from Love. But the card resolves, getting 2 searches, and with 3.5 minutes remaining, wow, this is tough.
Yeah,
for
I think
the Bulgarian player.
2 searches here is a lot to let your opponent resolve. If you mentioned, as you mentioned, if you bounce the Sutri here, it no longer has attack points per se, as it's in the hand, and the Whirlwinds will resolve without effect.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think we do know that Benoit searched a Vata last turn, so it wouldn't really help too much to bounce, because you would just be able to special summon it, the Vata, and then keep going here. We also have the Baraya Storm in the graveyard, don't forget, so we can actually synchro from the grave. There's a lot of things that Benoit can do here.
Yeah, this is not stopping anytime soon.
And with a 6,200 life point deficit, I don't think he's in any rush to try and get into the battle phase ASAP here.
No, absolutely, it's fine. And now we see the Princess, which will actually be activated alongside tributing one of his opponent Blackwing Monsters.
Yeah, so I think was that, what did he choose to negate? Was it the Vata in the hands?
No, I think it
it's
was the discarded...
Oh, the Shamal, right,
yeah. The Shamal.
Okay, so negating Shamal to prevent the search of the Featherwind.
But we still have the Vata.
Yeah, we still got Vata, we still got Baraya Storm. And
that's exactly what we're going for. Vata.
Yeah, lots of damage can be dealt with here. That Bengal Lancer still hasn't been used. Okay.
Gonna go for a synchro right away.
I don't think he used Vata's effect, right? He just
used it as a stunner. Oh, wow.
Void Ogre Dragon, interesting.
Nice. This is a card that we haven't seen in ages, honestly. I remember it maybe in the Infernity deck back in the day.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, because obviously it requires you to not have any cards in the end, but wow, what a throwback.
All right, here's the Baraya Storm now. And this does let you go into the level 10 here. Let's see which one he chooses. It's the Assault Blackwing.
And with 1,800 life points left, that's really threatening for
this
Love.
Bengal Lancer just hasn't been used at all yet, which is... I mean, you feel like you should have got some value out of it, but at this point, you can't use it because you'll just take damage from the Assault Wing, and you'll also take damage from the effect itself to actually bounce. And yeah, not enough life to pay for that. All right, okay. Is it time for the battle phase? Another neat effect of the Assault Wing Dragon that...
we go to the battle phase, 40 seconds left in what seems like it might be the start of a really good story for Benoit, winning round 1 here in Utrecht.
With Black Wings, no doubt.
Yeah.
And
what a feat, honestly. Yeah.
What a wing. There's the Sunvine sowing used in the graveyard here. It actually allows you to protect your monster once per turn. Sometimes a lot of people forget that when dueling against plant decks, but it does have some form of protection from the graveyard here.
And 10 seconds remain, and as time could be called any time, he picks up a card, and it's now Lav who really doesn't have time and picks it up. It's Benoit winning game 3 and round 1. What a start of a day.
And
wow.
An attempt was made there to come back with the plant deck. He felt like he maybe actually could have won that with just a little bit more time. You know, I think he had a better field established. But
if we had more time on the round, maybe we would have been able, you know, to put some, you know, more cards on the field. But still, very good show from him. Rika deck is still here after 1 year, honestly. And
yeah, still, although it didn't win as last time, it showed off, especially in game 2, what the deck can do with just 1 or 2 cards opening. At the same time, though, the spotlight gotta go to Benoit and his Blackwing deck. You love to see it when duelists just bring what their favorite strategy is. And Blackwing has been here, it feels like forever. As mentioned, popular in a lot of the Time Wizard tournaments that we are seeing, even at the public events this weekend. But 2023, as live as ever, and here Benoit advancing with a 1-0 record.
Yeah, so
impressive stuff.
Winning round 1, I think, is particularly important with a sort of rogue strategy.
Yeah.
As you fall into the 0-1 bracket, you start to sort of duel against other rogue decks. And generally, if you prepare a rogue deck, you want to design it to beat the meta. So if you have that round 1 win, it sort of establishes you're most likely to play against meta for the rest of the day. And that's when your deck is more prepared. Whereas if you go 0-1, you're not really going to be playing against too much meta. So not too bad for a Lav here with the plant deck. I think it has a good all-round matchup against everything, but I think specifically for Benoit, he really wants to play against the decks that he's prepared for. So we'll see how this weekend ends up for our players here.
He will need, regardless, to adapt and keep going in what, as mentioned already, is an impressive event with almost 2,000 players, which means that we have 11 rounds and top 64, which will be a great, great journey all along. 9 rounds today. So 8 remainings, and we are gonna find out who is going to the World Championship and who will be the European champion tomorrow, which honestly doesn't get much better than this. The tension is palpable already, and obviously we're gonna have round 2 coming up where we are gonna see a lot of the contenders, but starting from round 3, as mentioned, all of the national champions will join in the competition as they received 2 rounds buys, and obviously the highlight will be their interviews and some of them on stream to see if one of them is able to even become a European champion. Regardless though, thank you guys for being with us. We have Ed with the winner, Benoit, ready for their interview.
Thank you very much, Marcello. Yes, I am joined by Benoit, who's just won our round 1 feature match here at the EU World Championship qualifier in Utrecht. Very exciting. First of all, congratulations. How are you feeling? Have you ever done a feature match before?
Yeah, no, it's my first time. So.
And you won.
Yeah, I'm really happy.
Good stuff. So you've been playing the Blackwing deck. Tell us what it is you like about the Blackwing deck.
Like the visual of the boss monsters. I also like Crow in the anime. So I'm playing the deck since from Crimson Crisis, and I'm really happy to have the support and to be able to special summon a lot of synchro monsters.
Fantastic. So going through your game, you were up against Rika, Sun, Avalon, Theriot. Have you ever played against that kind of deck before?
Yes, but it's been a while, so I started to forget the effect.
Sure, because in game 1, you built a massive field. You had the 3 Blackwing Assault Dragons, so that's a difficult position for him. But he decided to scoop, which meant you had no idea what you were playing against at that point. So when that happens, what do you do? What are you thinking?
I just remove a few cards that can be used in go first and go second, and I just add massive going second card. I had the feeling that it was like also a combo deck because when you main deck evenly, it means that maybe she doesn't have place to put a lot of hand traps. So that's why I put cards that can be good against combo decks in going second.
Fantastic. And then going into that game too, it was sort of the opposite. So build that massive, you know, the standard field. And so you just decided to scoop during that. So why did you decide to do that in game two?
Because he had the tulip, so I can activate just one magical trap, and he had the Tyrion that negate the effect but not the activation. And I had evenly matched, but I was not able to. That was my only out, and he will negate it. So that just why I decided to scoop.
Well, looking at that, the Rose Whip and Regulus combo, that's really lethal in that deck because you just can't use any of your spells. And so that kind of thing's really hard. But then that game three, that was right down to time. So that went pretty intensely. So you started off with 2 Blackwing Whirlwind, and you really managed to get some mileage out of that. But you also got impermed twice. You know, so what's going through your head when things like that happen to you?
The first issue I had is that I had to banish Zephyros with a small ward, so my combo was not the full power. And then when I got the 2 imperms, I struggled to do synchro summon, so I just ended with 1 negate. And I was like quite sad. And but when he declared that it was end of the turn, I thought maybe yes, I can do something. And
well, hey, at the end of it, you managed to come out the winner, so congratulations. Are there any decks that you're slightly worried about going up with while you're using the Blackwings throughout the rest of your Swiss rounds?
Yeah, Labyrinth, because the final board is really strong against monster effect, but not so much against spell or trap cards. So if the opponent plays full spell or full trap, it will be a hard time for me.
Well, fingers crossed that you managed to avoid some of the labyrinths, but congratulations on your first feature and winning the first round here at the EU WCQ. Congrats. Best of luck on all of the rounds that you've got coming up. I hope it'll all go well for you. Guys, don't go anywhere. We've got more coverage coming your way. The round 2 feature match is coming up soon. But first, we're going to take you on a little walk around the venue here at the EU WCQ. Don't go anywhere.